Amibo. I'm back again today and I have a new exciting story for you. So this is my channel. It's called Marriage Amibo. On this channel, I bring information to women, to guide them, to instruct them, to tell them how to live their lives intentionally. So this story was shared with me by someone really close to me, and with her permission, I'm going to share it. And the reason that I share this information is to help women, especially women considering relationships, women that are married, and also single ladies to learn about things like this so that they don't go repeating the mistakes that others have made. This is my intention, nothing else. So, this lady had been married to this guy for about 11 years plus now. So they have a son between them. The husband has been living in the western part of Europe and she had been living in Nigeria. Um, Along the line, she decided to come to the UK for her studies. I don't know how she convinced the man to come to the UK for her studies because usually these men who marry Nigerian ladies from abroad, they are not very comfortable with allowing their wives to travel out of Nigeria. But I don't have information about how she eventually moved into the UK, anyways. But they had just one son, and she came down to the UK on a study route. So while she was here, the man was able to visit her. And while they were here, they were trying out ways of getting visas to go to where he was staying in the western part of Europe. But each time they tried to make that application, they got a rejection. And according to her story, she even said that she had tried severally, even back home when she was in Nigeria. She had tried to make those visa applications from there, but she always got this rejection and she didn't really know why. Anyway, so she just felt that everything was normal. So it was just one of those rejections that would come from the embassy. So while she was here, she had finished her studies and she was moving on to a new visa. Then she started talking to her husband about coming down to the possibility of coming down to the UK to stay with her and her son so that the family can, function together as a normal family. But the guy came up with all sorts of stories. He came up with stories of work. He just found a story, he just found a story to give her, and she was explaining that here is UK, is not Nigeria, where it's not like you have access to nannies and all those things, so it will be easier for them to manage themselves as family if he's here, since it's difficult for her to come down to where he is. But like I said, there was a story around that. Anyway, so the lady moved on. She processed a new visa for herself and her son. So this man was coming around to see them from time to time. I think in a year, maybe he comes in like thrice or more than that, because I mean, now he was closer to her, so it was easier for him to come. Then on one of those trips, she said she doesn't know what actually, made her to do this thing that I'm talking about right now. So she said she went into one of the days he was out. So she just went into his things and checked his luggage. And in his luggage, he found a second phone that he didn't know the husband was using. So apparently, when he comes into the UK to spend time with her, he's using one phone for them to interact. So she said she found a second phone that was switched off in his luggage. So she decided to switch it on. And when she did, she saw that that phone had conversations between this man and someone else, like another lady. So apparently, all these years, this guy had been living with someone in his location. He never told her he was married, or he never told her he had even anything to do with any other woman all these years that had been living together. So she thought that, she was the only person in his life. So the man never gave her information, because usually these guys, sometimes they actually do tell you their situation. So I know scenarios where the men come to the ladies, so they tell them, see, I'm here because of status, I need to do this, and after some years, I'm going to do this so that I'll be able to have these papers and everything will be fine. So I know scenarios where that conversation has happened and the two parties understand it. But in this particular story, in this particular scenario, this man never made mention of anything between him and anyone. So this lady was just finding out for the first time in her life that there was someone else that the husband had been living with all these years. And all of a sudden, it dawned on her while she was getting those rejections that she had been getting. So apparently, of course, the man was married. So if she was applying from anywhere and she's writing married on her documents, definitely is not going to be approved. And the interesting thing about this story is that this guy was the one who paid for all of those times that she got this rejection. He paid for the visa. So, there was nothing suspicious about the whole thing. So it wasn't like he was even dissuading her from making those applications. So she would say she wants to make application. The man will go ahead to process it. He'll make the payment and everything, knowing fully well that this thing will not be approved. Wow, that was not fair at all. Anyway, she found out and she was really, really heartbroken. But she didn't talk to the man about it. She just pretended like she didn't know anything until the guy went back and she said she just changed it for him. She changed her attitude towards him. So when he calls, women, you know, we're emotional beings. So she just couldn't imagine that, she had put her trust, you know, confidence and everything in someone who had been telling her a lie for so long. Anyway, so eventually one of the days she had to open up and let him know that, sorry, please end this game. I already know about this. I saw this and all that. So when the man found out that she was now aware of this thing, so he now started apologizing. And but the lady is like, sorry, what are you apologizing about? If I didn't discover this, you wouldn't have let me know. I wouldn't have known. So what is that apology? Like, what is the purpose of that apology? So this engagement is actually currently going on, and I don't know where it's going to end up because the lady is very, very pissed with the whole situation. She's very unhappy. And in fact, left to her, she says that she's moving on. Um, since she just has one child, she's able to take care of her son by herself. So it's not a scenario where the guy is going to hold her to ransom, because usually why women are not able to make certain decisions, like I keep saying, is because they're not empowered. So she has her finances, she has her good status now. So she's able to function with or without him, with her son. And I think it was really a very smart one that she did by bringing her child out of Nigeria. You know, I don't know how she did it, honestly. Like I said, a lot of men who have these dramas around them usually don't want their wives coming out because they just want to have the best of two worlds. They're living there, then they want you to stay back there managing their lives and estates for them. So I think it's a very good one. And why am I sharing this story? Yeah, because a lot of our ladies, these guys come from abroad. They come, promise you heaven and earth. They tell you this, they tell you that. In the end, you believe these things and you don't even know that these people have people there. They don't tell you. They don't give, there's no full disclosure of their lives, of their situation or anything around them. And this even reminds me, some years ago, my dad was actually trying to make this connection for me with one of his friends' sons that was living in the US. I was not interested, honestly. So, well, but I didn't want to disrespect him. So he kept on sharing my contact with all these people. I have never been a fan of this abroad husband connection kind of thing. Well, I decided to grant them audience. So one of the days, one of them came, invited me over to one eatery in Ikeja. So we sat there and we were having that conversation. He was asking me about myself, my work, what do I do? I didn't want to waste their time. So I just told him upfront that, you see, the reason I actually came for this meeting is because I didn't want to disrespect my dad, but I'm sorry. if there has to be a middle person between I and whoever I'm supposed to be getting to know, I don't think I'm interested in that relationship. So if you're here to get information about me, I would rather that I had, engagement directly with the person that I'm supposed to be meeting. Not that there is this middle person conversation, between the two of us, because it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. So I guess they would have gone back to whoever brought them or whoever sent them, and they are like, oh, this one is not our spec. I'm not their spec, oh, I'm not the spec for those kind of things. So anyway, so that's what happened. So this lady found these things out, and I don't know. The thing might be packing up. It might, I don't know. I don't know the end of it. So yeah, that is it. So ladies, when these guys come to you and promise you heaven and earth, it's good for you to ask the questions, ask the right questions. And I keep saying these things. You want to marry. So if the guy is actually open to you to tell you, okay, yes, I had to go to this place and I needed to, straighten out my status. And because of that, I have this partner. It's a different conversation than when the person this doesn't disclose these things to you. He withholds that information, and he keeps telling you stories upon stories, simply because he wants a family back home while he's having a second family, and he doesn't really tell you the way it is. I think that's bad, really bad. It's unfair, because guys who do these things, if women do the same thing, that's when you see all sorts of stories all over social media, but nobody publicizes these things when the man does it, which is the reason why I keep saying the things I say. These things that our guys do, women, when we get to do the same thing, that is when it becomes news. Everyone carries that. But these things are very normal when men do that. And that's where I'm in disagreement with the other gender. You already know that about me at this time. So I just said to bring this story out to my people, oh, my women, shine your eyes. So when these guys come, ask the right questions and be sure what you're getting yourself into, so that you will avoid stories that touch the heart, like this type that I just shared right now. So I'll come back to you again with a new story sometime within the week. So have a wonderful weekend. Bye.